which, if I never thought to mention it before, I now feel compelled to address. Tall, 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 tall man. You bend so as not to dent the firmament. You're made of elements I've never tasted. I crave you, tall man. I love your strident devotion to the real as knowable. I love your bum-bada-bum. I love your thumbtacks and shrouds. Wrap me in your arms and teach me how to carol the moon in a way that pleases it. Yes, sometimes I want to pick up my shadow and sling it at you. Yes, you make me so angry I burst into green, green flames. I love you. Forgive me. I have made you the object of poems. I have subjected you to much wheezing. Oh, tall man, love me like a hero, and I will give you an arrow from my quiver. Bum-ba-da-bum. Sublime, sublime, sublime. Litany. O you gods, you long-limbed animals, you astride the sea, and you unhammocked in the cypress grove, and you with your hair full of horses, please. My thoughts have turned from the savor of plums to the merits of pity. Touch and interrupt me. Chasten me with awe. Seed God and husk God, God of the open palm, you know the doubts that harrow me. You know my wrists are small. O you with glass-colored wind at your call, and you whose voice is soft as a turned page, whose voice returns air to its forms, send me a word for faith that also means his thrum, his coax, and her soft hollow. Please, friend gods, so when he says, you give it all away, I can say, I am not sorry. A catalog of ephemera. You give me flowers resembling Chinese lanterns. You give me hail for yellow. You give me vex. You give me lemon softened in brine, and you give me cuttlefish ink. You give me all 463 stairs of Brunelleschi stone. You give me seduction, and you let me give it back to you. You give me you. You give me an apartment full of morning smells, toasted bagel and black coffee and the freckled lilies on the vase in the windowsill. You give me 24 across. You give me the flowers resembling moth's wings. You give me the first bird of morning alighting on a wire. You give me the sidewalk cafe with plastic furniture and the boys with their feet on the chairs. You give me the swoop of homemade kites in the park on Sunday. You give me afternoon-colored beer with lemons in it. You give me D.H. Lawrence, and he gives me pomegranates and sorb apples. You give me the loose tooth of California, the broken jaw of New York City. You give me the blue sky of Wyoming and the blue wind through it. You give me an ancient city where the language is a secret everyone is keeping. You give me a t-shirt that says all you gave me was this t-shirt. You give me pictures with yourself cut out. You give me lime blossoms, but not for what they symbolize. You give me yes. You give me no. You give me midnight apples in a car with the windows down. You give me the flash bulbs of an electrical storm. You give me thunder and suddenly green underbellies of clouds. You give me the careening of trains. You give me the scent of bruised mint. You give me the smell of black hair and of blonde hair. You give me Apollo and Daphne, Pan and Syrinx. You give me echo. You give me hyacinth and narcissus. You give me foxglove and soft fists of peony. You give me the filthy carpet of an East Village apartment. You give me seeming not to notice. You give me an unfinished argument begun on the Manhattan-bound F train. You give me paintings of women with their eyes closed. You give me grief and how to grieve.